Good morning, my friends. Happy Wednesday. I hope you're having a fun week so far. Today, we are going to read a story that is set in a very special country called Haiti. This book is called Josiah's Hold the Book. It is by Jennifer Reismer Elvgren, and it is illustrated by Nicole Tadgill. Josiah frowned at the bare rows of dirt between the sweet potatoes and peas in his family's tiny garden. The beans have grown well here every year. Why not this one? He wiped the sweat from his brow as the Haitian sun climbed higher in the sky. Josiah heard laughter and turned toward the red dirt road. Some of the few children who attended school ran past him on their way to class. Bonjour, Chrislove. Josiah waved to his friend. Bonjour, Josiah. Chrislove stopped and smiled. When will you join us and hold the book? I have no use for reading and writing when there is a garden to weed. Josiah laughed at Chrislove's teasing. After the students had passed, Josiah's thoughts turned back to the beans. Without them, there might not be enough food. This garden was his responsibility, and Josiah was determined to find a solution without worrying his family. They had already too much to do. Papa was gone all day tending the family's other small garden on the side of the mountain. Mama cooked for the family and sold their extra fruit and vegetables at the market. His younger sisters, Feline and Nataline, carried water in large pitchers on their heads from the village spring to their thatched hut. And his younger brother Mark cared for their donkey and chickens. That evening, Josiah was so busy thinking about beans that Mark scored 3 goals when they were playing soccer. Where's your head, Josiah? Mark chuckled and gave him a shove. In the garden. Josiah headed for the water pitcher beside the fire pit. After taking a sip, Josiah exclaimed, "More water!" Papa would give the beans more water. For the next week, Josiah walked the mile to the village and back with Feline and Nataline, hauling enough water for the beans. Bonjour, Josiah, Chrislove called one morning. When will you hold the book? Bonjour, Chrislove. Josiah looked up as he sprinkled more water over the empty rows of beans. I have no use for reading and writing when there is a garden to water. Chrislove shrugged his shoulders and kept walking as Josiah emptied the pitcher. Nothing is growing, Josiah sighed. I must think of something else. Around the fire that night, Josiah was quiet, wondering about the beans. Even as Papa told a story, Josiah traced patterns in the dirt with one finger, not listening. When the donkey brayed from beside the hut, his finger froze. Donkey dung, Josiah whispered. Papa would give the beans more donkey dung. During the next week, Josiah gathered extra dung and worked it into the bare soil around the beans. Bonjour, Josiah, Chrislove called one morning. When will you hold the book? Bonjour, Chrislove. Josiah leaned on his hoe. I have no use for reading and writing when the garden needs dung. Chrislove nodded and kept walking as Josiah stabbed at the still, bare earth. Nothing is growing, Josiah muttered. I must think of something else. At bedtime, Josiah tossed and turned, thinking about the beans. Since sleep wouldn't come, he tiptoed out to the garden. Through the night, Josiah sat and stared at the bare earth, looking for an answer. He jumped when he heard a loud thud. It was morning already. One of the school children had dropped an armful of books on the road. That's it, exclaimed Josiah. Maybe books can tell me how to make my beans grow. He skipped down the road to wait for Chrislove. Bonjour, Josiah, called Chrislove. When will you hold the book? Bonjour, Chrislove, Josiah answered. Can books tell me why my beans won't grow? I will ask teacher. As Josiah worked that day, he kept staring down the road, and just when he thought he couldn't wait any longer, Chrislove was at the gate. What did teacher say? Josiah yelled as he ran to Chrislove. Chrislove handed an open book to Josias. Josias's eyes widened. He ran his fingers over the smooth pages filled with words. His heart pounded when he looked at the pictures of fruit and vegetables he had never seen before. The book says that the soil all over Haiti is tired, Chrislove reported. You need to plant the beans in a different spot in the garden and plant something else where the beans were. I will speak with Papa and Mama about holding the book, Chrislove winked and headed toward home. Mama bent over the fire outside, stirring the kettle, and the smell of rice and beans floated through the air. Papa sat next to her, repairing a basket. Josias took a deep breath. Papa, Mama, I wish to hold the book. You can't eat okra with one finger, Mama shook her head. Mama is right, said Papa. The whole family must work together to grow and sell our fruit and vegetables so we have enough food to eat. Let me tell you of my problem, Josias began, and Papa nodded. Weeks ago, I planted the beans where we do every year, and when they didn't grow, I gave it extra water and dung. You have learned well, Papa smiled. But nothing happened. Through Chrislove, I asked Teacher if books could help our beans grow, and Josias held out the book to Papa. Teacher sent this book that says the soil all over Haiti is tired. I must plant the beans in a new spot in the garden and plant something else where the beans were. It sounds like the book is right, said Papa, slowly turning the pages. The book also tells how to grow new crops. I want to learn more. I know it will be hard on Mark, Feline, and Nataline if I go to school during the day. Josiah's voice trailed off. What about the garden? Papa handed the book to Mama. I can work in the garden at night instead of playing soccer, Josias finished. Papa sighed and looked at Mama, who was studying the book, and finally he spoke. We will try it. In the morning, Josias stood by the road, hugging the book to his chest. Bonjour, Josias, Chrislove called. When will you hold the book? Bonjour, Chrislove, Josias replied. Today. As Josias joined Chrislove on the road toward school, he looked back over his shoulder at the garden. I will have you growing soon, Josiah promised the beans. This is a really lovely book that talks about some of the struggles that the people of Haiti have in learning how to provide for their families and grow their crops and take care of the soil. The author's note here says that the majority of Haitian people live in rural areas and it takes the entire family working together to grow enough food to eat. As a result, most people do not attend school or know how to read. The Haitian government tries to help, but public schools are located primarily in the cities. Private and religious-based schools are found in rural areas but are oftentimes very expensive. Sometimes people in other countries pay for Haitian children to attend school. If a child is sponsored and a family can find a way to spare that child from working during the day, school is possible. A typical primary school day for the few sponsored children begins by drinking a cup of sweetened coffee for breakfast. The children, dressed in school uniforms, often walk a mile or more to school over rocky mountain paths. They study penmanship, reading, and arithmetic in their native language, Creole. In Haiti, children learn by repetition. So a new idea will be spoken out loud or written on paper over and over again until it is understood. Favorite parts of the day, just like here at home, are lunch, which usually consists of a bowl of rice and beans, and recess. The girls play a game called Ocelot, which is similar to jacks. In this game, they toss goat knuckles into the air and catch them. The boys play soccer, called football, using rags wound together if there is no ball. And if someone has a long rope, both boys and girls jump rope. At the end of the school day, the children walk home again. After changing from their school clothes, chores begin. Children might go to the spring for water, gather firewood, work in the garden, or care for the animals. After eating a dinner of porridge made from milk, flour, and spices, children do their homework and go to bed. So a very different life from the one that many of us know. I know a lot of our friends, especially here, live on farms, and maybe they help with the chores and they help with the gardens or help with the animals every day. And that's a really important task. And I bet you could ask your parents or your grandparents about the problem that Josias had about planting crops and how to move crops around so that the soil stays fertile. But it's also a great reminder that education is important and reading and writing is important so that you can learn about all different kinds of things, things that will help your family or things maybe that interest you. So I hope you're getting ready to go back to school. I hope you're excited to meet your teachers and make new friends or start new lessons at home with your parents and your families. Until we meet again, friends, take care.